Welcome one and all to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. And folks, we are just about midnight. We are 1 week from an election in which Americans will learn a lot about ourselves as a country. We'll be standing in front of the full-length mirror of democracy, buck naked. And we're going to get an eyeful of just how far we've let ourselves go. I just don't want that mirror behind, too, so you can see both of them at the same time. Speaking of which, Donald Trump held a rally at Madison Square Garden, and the reviews are in. CNN says Trump unveils the most extreme closing argument in modern presidential history. The Independent says Donald Trump's Madison Square Garden rally was an orgy of fascism. The New York Times, Trump at the Garden, a closing carnival of grievances, misogyny, and racism. And Fox News, Trump, powerhouse guest, rock-packed MSG with historic rally. Wow. How would they have covered Nuremberg? High five enthusiasts thrilled by superstar Austrian painter's tiny mustache. This rally, I don't know if you caught any of it, but the rally was just a stomach-churning 6 hours of hatred, racism, and threats of totalitarian revenge, starting with the first speaker who made a bunch of jokes that are so appallingly racist, none of the cable news channels will even run them. But the one that's getting the most attention is this.
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Buddy, you don't get to call something else a floating pile of garbage when you are standing on top of Penn Station. They clean off the pee with fresher pee. Those comments right there could have massive repercussions for Trump because more than 470,000 people of Puerto Rican descent live in Pennsylvania alone. And you're not. I got a little something. And you're not going to win over 500,000 people by insulting their homeland. That's why William Henry Harrison dropped his original slogan, tip a canoe and don't trust the Irish. No surprise, after this, several influential Puerto Ricans have now come out to support Harris, including Bad Bunny, Luis Fonsi, Ricky Martin, and Jennifer Lopez. And there you go. There you go. That's what you get. That's what you get. You can hear all about it on J-Lo's new track, Love Don't Cost a Thing, but that joke might cost you Bucks County. Then it was off to the races with over 4 hours of MAGA speakers before Trump shambled on stage, including among the speakers, disgraced and discarded former mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, who shared his message of, "Can I sleep here?" Rudy tried to talk about the train derailment last year in East Palestine, Ohio, but instead he said this.
Remember New Palestine? Remember New Palestine? When they had the subway derailment?
No. No, we don't remember any of that because none of that is correct. I'd love to see Rudy give a book report. Remember the tale of three cities? It was the best of times. It was the subway of times. Boy, I love that Charlie Dickens. The crazy train kept on rolling down the track with an appearance by Hulk Hogan, whose classic shirt rip went a little awry.
Don't take trouble for very long. I get something deep inside of me. Conscious the thing that keeps us free. I am a real American.
That is just sad. To see an old man like that. We've all had that moment when you have to look at your grandpa and say, "Peepaw, it's just not safe anymore. We're gonna have to take away the keys to your shirt." Finally, almost 5 hours into the Manhattan death rally, it was time for the headliner. Trump was exhausted, repetitious, and just awful. I am so sick of that guy. And we still have a week left until the election. You know?
Yeah.
9 years. Enough. So I tell you what, let's not watch any of his speech. Instead, let's just watch this weird Russian tongue-singing male choir. Isn't that nice? Wasn't that a nice treat? We deserved that. That was so... That was so fun. Those guys make more sense than Donald Trump and are less pro-Russian. Anyway, the whole thing just sucked. Over on the Democratic side, Kamala Harris proved you can have a big rally without calling any parts of the United States garbage. Last month, she broke a personal crowd record with 17,000 people in Greensboro, North Carolina. Then last week, she broke that record with a rally of 23,000 people in Clarkston, Georgia. And this weekend, she broke it again with 30,000 people going wild for a Texas rally featuring Beyoncé. And when Harris took the stage, she addressed her younger supporters.
Do we have anybody here from Gen Z? Where you at? You know it ain't right that you may have fewer rights than your mother or your grandmother.
Yeah, it's not right, and you know grandma's just gonna rub it in. We didn't just have reproductive rights. Houses were $15. Smoking made you live longer. And instead of dating apps, I just married the first sailor who bought me a gin Ricky. Heavy on the gin, light on the Ricky. Michelle Obama was also out on the trail for Harris. She spoke in Michigan.
I recognize that there are a lot of angry, disillusioned people out there, upset with the slow pace of change. Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
She really is one of the most powerful political speakers. Yeah. And so is her husband. What is it like? What is it like in that household? I want to know when they disagree. What's it like when those two disagree about how to load a dishwasher? Now look, Michelle, there's a lot of talk about what does or doesn't belong on the top rack. But there aren't bread plates and dinner plates. There's only the united plates. Which is why we need a detailed plan for how we're going to deal with the china. Listen, Barack, when the plates go low, the bowls go high. Anyway, gotta work on my Michelle. Gotta work on Michelle. Gotta work on it. Anyway, Kamala Harris has been racking up major endorsements, but this weekend, she didn't get a big one because the Washington Post announced that it will not endorse a presidential candidate in the upcoming election. Explains, I agree. Explains why they changed their slogan from democracy dies in darkness to democracy dies, or it doesn't. We can't tell. It's so dark in here. Now, WaPo's opinion editor said of the decision, the Post was no longer going to tell people how to vote, a posture that would reflect the paper's independent bona fides. Okay, counterpoint, you're the opinion editor. Your whole job is to have an opinion about important stuff like this. That would be like a movie critic writing, I give Megalopolis thumbs, to say how many or which direction they're pointing would ruin my independent bona fides. Adam Driver gives a performance. Bulldozer? What's extra sinister about this is that the paper had an endorsement for Harris already written and ready to go. But at the last minute, it apparently got yanked by the paper's owner, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. Well, that's it. I'm going to shred my collection of Washington Posts. Okay. Amazon.com. Paper shredders and, ooh, 2-day shipping. And you know what? I do need refills on the Nespresso. That is really great. Just one click right there. Can you make sure that's get charged up? Turns out refusing to express an opinion about a looming fascist regime is pretty unpopular among newspaper subscribers because as of this taping, more than 200,000 people have canceled their digital subscriptions to the Washington Post. 200,000.
Canceling.
Gone.
Canceling.
200,000. You can't lose those kind of people. If this keeps up, it could destroy the Washington Post. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I have no opinion. We got a great show for you tonight. My guests are Robin Wright and Nicole Scherzinger. But when we come back, meanwhile, join us, won't you?